Kaleidoscope, a weekly public affairs program brought to you in partnership with the Urban League of Greater Cleveland, Kaleidoscope Magazine, and News Channel 5.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the broadcast today. The National Rites of Passage Institute hosts its 2013 Youth and Community Building Conference in mid-July. Founder and President Paul Hill Jr. is here to tell us about the Institute and the upcoming conference. Later on, we'll hear about this year's Irish Cultural Festival from the Deputy Director, John O'Brien Jr. And on the broadcast after that, the Executive Director of Cleveland MOTEP, Linda Kimball, and kidney dialysis patient Sean Jenkins will talk about the long wait for organ donation and about MOTEP's annual fundraiser. Good morning. I'm Leon Bibb. This is Kaleidoscope, and so we begin. Beginning with a longtime friend, Paul Hill, founder and president of the National Rites of Passage Institute. Hey, Paul.
Good morning, Leon. How you doing?
Oh, just fine. Good to have you with us.
Good being here
with us. Refresh our memories now on the mission of the National Rites of Passage Institute.
Well, the Institute was established back during the 80s to establish a critical mass and community of men and women to provide services to young people, to help replace ourselves, to regenerate the community using the importance of culture doing that.
Yeah, and talk about the rites of passage. I mean, that's an old term that you continue to use. What happens during rites of passage for young people?
I like to think of rites of passage as a vessel, as it relates to the various seasons of life that we go through, infancy, childhood, adolescence, adulthood, and then becoming an elder. But going from one season of life to the next, and rites of passage is a means or vehicle for providing safe passage.
And in the African American community, much of it makes reference to Africa, rites of passage in Africa. What happened?
Right. Well, rites of passage takes place among all various groups, regardless of time and space. The term rites of passage was given to us in 1907 by a French anthropologist named Arnold Genepte. He wrote a book in French called The Rites of Passage. But a lot of his research, the majority of his research was done on the continent of Africa, talking about how indigenous groups throughout the continent replaced themselves, regenerated the community, created men and women, created sanctioned adults.
Bring the young people along into adulthood.
Exactly, because we're not born men and women, we're born males and females and have to be socially and culturally developed into men and women and adults.
I know you've been talking about this, as you said, for many, many years. You've got a conference coming up. You're hosting a conference in July the 19th and through the 21st in Baltimore.
Yes.
Now, what's going to happen at this conference that you are hosting in Baltimore?
Well, it's bringing together the individuals, the recipients of services, that provide services, to share, to discuss, to talk about their successes in using rites of passage as a strategy for youth development, child development, and community building. So it's going to be a national, international conference. We have folks coming from as far west as Hawaii, California, north, Toronto, east, Halifax, south, southern parts of the United States. So we're expecting between 300 and 500 people at the Reginald F. Lewis Maryland African American History and Culture Museum.
Of course, you've remained in Cleveland. You started all of this in Cleveland.
Yes, all in Cleveland. In 2010, we had a conference at the Cleveland Clinic campus, Lyndhurst, where we had about 200 people doing the same thing. So this is just a continuation of bringing folks together nationally and internationally to talk about rites of passage as a means.
Yeah. I want to put a phone number on the screen where people can get more information as we continue our conversation with Paul Hill Jr., founder and president of the National Rites of Passage Institute. 216-925-0338. You see the phone number there. There's a website there, nropi.org, nropi.org. More information on everything we've been talking about. What do you want people to walk away with once they attend this national conference on rites of passage?
Well, walking away having an understanding of those best practices, those evidence-based practices, because we're bringing not only recipients of services, providers of services, we're going to have scholars that will be there, practitioners that will be there, digital storytelling by young people from around the United States around identity and culture, and the experts, just to share their research, their empirical research about how successful this has been in the impact of developing young people.
Why is this important especially for young people, to go through some sort of a rite of passage?
Well, it's important for a family community to be involved, to help sanction young people. Because if we don't sanction it, we don't provide them with identity, purpose, and direction, then it's left up to happenstance. We were much more successful in the past in using culture in developing our children and young people than we are today. You know, a lot is left up to, you know, those that, you know, don't have the best interests of young people, you know, in mind in most instances.
We've always had that rites of passage, though, haven't we? When you and I were growing up.
Right, it's always been there. We use the concept Sankofa, returning to the past to bring forward those things in the past that can work for us today.
It's good for the elders in the family to sit down and talk to the youngsters in the family.
Yes.
And let them, and prepare them for what life is, will mete out to them.
Exactly. Very, very important. Just returning, you know, I call it the Back to the Future movement.
Yeah. Can people still get hooked up for this Rites of Passage Institute that you're hosting in Baltimore, Maryland?
Yes, yes. Just go to www.nropi.org for registration information and hotel information. It's still time.
And this is good for all people, regardless of ethnicity.
All right, it's good for all people. We have some Native Hawaiianers will be there, Native Americans will be there, some individuals from the European community, globally and nationally. So it's good for all folks.
Okay. It's going to be July the 19th in Baltimore, Maryland, the National Rites of Passage Institute, and Paul Hill, founder and president of the National Rites of Passage Institute, headquartered right in Cleveland, is hosting it down in Baltimore. Good to see you, Paul, my friend.
Thank you, Leon.
Take care. Always good to see you.
You too.
One of the heroes of this town. Believe me, one of the real heroes of this town. Thank you so much, Paul.
Thank you.
Good to see you. We're going to take a break right now. In a moment, we'll be back. We'll talk about this year's Irish Cultural Festival. We're talking about all kinds of things today. Back in a moment. You're in touch with Kaleidoscope. I'm Leon Bibb. Glad to have you with us. The Deputy Director of Cleveland's Irish Cultural Festival, John O'Brien Jr., is here to tell us what to expect at this year's event. Now in its 31st year, the Irish Cultural Festival celebrates with music, song, and dance here in the greater Cleveland area. Hi, John.
Great. Thanks for having me.
Oh, my pleasure, my pleasure. It's always been 31 years that
31
the
years.
organization's been doing this.
That's right.
Yeah.
I was 16 when we started.
Yeah, well, good. And you're still involved.
I'm still involved.
Yeah. Tell me about the annual Irish Cultural Festival. It starts on July the 19th, and where's it going to be?
It is at the Berea Fairgrounds, Cuyahoga County Fairgrounds, out in Berea, right off 71. 31st year, as you mentioned. I'm really looking forward to a lot of great music, dance, and families getting together.
Yeah. And what's the purpose of it? What would you say is the overall purpose of it?
The biggest thing for us is to promote the Irish heritage. My dad is from Ireland, came over here, was welcomed with open arms, and he wanted to tell the people why our heritage is so special. 400,000 Irish in this area. There's a great population here that always welcomed them to Cleveland, and they've contributed to the growth of the city.
And you always have just a wonderful, wonderful time at the Irish Cultural Festival. I've been there many times and signed autographs there. We've always had a booth there, and it's just a wonderful, just to stroll through and hear the music and enjoy the food and all of that. What are some of the big things that you want to highlight this year?
I think the music is probably the biggest draw. It's family-oriented, but there's everything from Celtic rock to the old traditional music on the fiddle. Eileen Ivers from Riverdance is a great feature performer. Ronan Tynan, one of the original Irish tenors, is one of the performers. So no matter what you like, whether it be rock or trad or somewhere in between, there's something for everyone.
And what's it cost to get in this year?
It's only $10 to get in. It's free parking, and that gets you all the bands. There's no additional charges.
$10 to get in, and the parking is free. And you rarely get free parking these days anywhere.
Right.
But you brought with you something here. Now, we're not going to go through every name on here, but we can get a shot of this maybe on camera 3. You have just a wide variety of people who are going to be appearing here.
It's 25 different bands. There's from a harpist like Dennis Doyle, Barleycorn, Cleveland's own traditional Barleycorn, Bridget's Cross. We have the High Kings, who are all coming off Broadway, sons of legends, fantastic singers themselves, great pipe bands, dance schools. There's a little bit of everything.
Yeah. Now, the day that we open up on July the 19th, and how long do we run?
We open up at 5 p.m. on Friday until midnight. Saturday is 1 p.m. until midnight. And then Sunday we have a special outdoor mass at 11:30. And the festival opens right after, goes until 10 p.m.
Yeah. July the 19th through the 21st. July the 19th through the 21st at the Cuyahoga County Fairgrounds, which is in Berea, I-71 South, and get off at what's it?
At Bagley.
Bagley Road.
Right.
And turn to the west. and you'll run right into it.
Right into it.
And you
We'll be
can't
waiting.
help but see it. It's thousands of people are going to be there. Why do you like it so much, John? I know you do other things for a living now.
Yes.
You're involved with this. But why do you like it so much?
I grew up with it, so originally I didn't really see any difference. You know, my dad walked into my bedroom one day and said, "Johnny, we're starting a festival. You're doing the parking." I said, "Okay," and that was it. But as I've grown into it, and really, I have 17 nieces and nephews, and they're all involved. Seeing how it really carries on generation to generation, the love for our rich heritage goes on again.
And you've got some of the local charities are going to benefit from some of the proceeds.
That's right. Holy Family Cancer Home. There's a lot of great national, international charities, and we take care of our own here as well.
It's always a lot of interest in this. There seems to have been a resurgence in Irish dance in recent years. I mean, we've seen river dance and groups like that.
Right.
That kind of helps it along, doesn't it?
It does. It really exposes people to a wider range. They come in to see the dancing, but then they hear somebody singing, or they see the pipe bands, or go up to the cultural hall. We have a large display there called Immigrants to Cleveland, photographic display, and a full wall of going back to the 1900s and way back. So people really feel a connection. They're looking for their roots. They find them here.
Yeah. In our earlier segment here, we were talking to Paul Hill about his group, the National Rites of Passage. He talked about the importance of rites of passage, of teaching the youngsters about their ethnic backgrounds and about where their ancestors came from and about what's expected of them as youth grow up. Same kind of thing with the Irish Cultural Festival, right?
Very much. I think people are looking for roots and looking for a connection. It's a very fast world, and they kind of wonder where they came from. The Irish roots, all the ethnic groups in Cleveland, really do a great job of connecting and saying, "Hey, here's who we are. This is what happened to us to make us who we are today."
You've got a whole lot of things going on. You've even got family and class reunions that kind of gather there. Tell me about that aspect of it. You're looking for that kind of thing, right?
Yes, that's very welcome. We have tents available to rent, tables sectioned off. People will come up, and that's where they see each other every year. They meet at the Irish Fest. Like last year, we had a wedding for the first time at the festival. So they and 40,000 of their best friends were at their wedding. You know, so it's great connection for everyone and great opportunity to do a lot of different things in one place.
I want to put a phone number on the screen. Well, there it is right there, 440-331-4233. You can call and get more information on what John and I are talking about, or you can go to clevelandirish.org, clevelandirish.org. John O'Brien Jr. is Deputy Director, Cleveland Irish Cultural Festival. Your dad began all of this, huh?
He did. He did. He grabbed a group of people together and said, "Hey, let's do something that highlights our heritage, shows some of the history, shows some of the passion and the richness." And from there, it's just grown. First year, we had 2 days. Now it's 30 years later.
As you were growing up, what did your dad say about the importance of this, which he instilled into you?
I think it was almost assimilation, just by seeing it. We'd wake up on a Sunday morning, there'd be a band that would have been staying overnight that he brought home from the Irish Hall that would stay with us. The stories at the breakfast table were just incredible of things they'd seen and done, and the history that I'd read about, they lived. And them talking about it, you know, I saw this, I walked down this street and saw this. It was just really personalized it, and we really got to see my dad went through a hard time immigrating here, came here with nothing but the clothes on his back. Going to Canada first, came to the U.S., really had a hard time, but people welcomed him. We had no relatives in the United States growing up. We have a huge family here now.
So you're going to talk about all those kinds of, all of that is part of the Irish Cultural Festival, whether it's said or unsaid, it is all infused into it.
Yes.
It's going to be the Cleveland Irish Cultural Festival, July the 19th through the 21st at the Berea Fairgrounds. It's the Cuyahoga County Fairgrounds in Berea. It's going to be a wonderful time, July the 19th through the 21st. Parking is free, $10, and they'll get you in, and food and fun and dancing and music and
plays, a little bit
else.
of everything.
Okay. Many thanks, John. Good to see you,
sir.
my friend.
Great
Good
to
to have
see
you on the broadcast. John O'Brien Jr., Deputy Director. This is Kaleidoscope taking a break. I'm going to be back in just a moment. Talk about long waits for organ donation after this. Welcome back to Kaleidoscope this morning. The Executive Director of the Cleveland Minority Organ and Tissue Transplant Education Program, Linda Kimball, is here to talk about her organization and the annual golf outing to raise funds, which is coming up. And she's joined by Sean Jenkins, who's a dialysis patient waiting for a kidney donation. Good to have you both with us.
Thanks for having us.
Linda, let's begin with you. Share with us the mission of the Minority Organ and Tissue Transplant Education Program, or MOTEP, as it is most often called?
Our mission is to decrease the number and rate of people who are in need of organ and tissue transplants, and also to increase the number of people who are organ and tissue donors in Northeast Ohio, specifically in the minority community, because there's such a need.
Why is there such a need in the minority community?
We are on the waiting list more so than anybody else because of the prevalence of certain chronic diseases such as high blood pressure and also diabetes. So, and we also are the ones that actually are least likely to become organ donors because of different myths and misconceptions in our community.
Generally speaking, race plays a part when we are talking about donation of organs. There's a medical reason why we look at one's race, correct?
The reason why is because the better match is with somebody who has the same blood chemistry as you, and you have a better chance of being matched with somebody of the same ethnic background.
That's why we talk about, that's why there's emphasis on the word minority.
Exactly, exactly.
Sean Jenkins, let's bring you into the conversation. You are in need of a kidney right now.
I am.
Tell me your story.
For about 18 years, I've suffered from a disease called systemic lupus erythematosus, more commonly known as lupus, that affects about 1.5 to 2 million Americans. The disease acts upon itself, acts upon the body, and I'm sorry.
You need that organ donation.
Yes,
right now.
indeed. The disease acts upon it on my body and shut down my kidneys, and that's why I'm in need.
How long have you been waiting?
I've been waiting since August of 2011.
On the waiting list.
Yes.
This puts a face to what we're talking about.
Exactly,
right?
exactly.
So what do we need to happen? What do we need to happen?
What we need to happen is that for the public to be thoughtful of knowing about the myths and misconceptions about organ and tissue donation. We need to have more people actually sign up of all different ethnic backgrounds, but because we know there is a need greater in the minority community, we are pushing to actually do this more so. We are doing things like having teen summits, talking to young people, because we know that that's one of the things that we need to do is actually start when they're really young to actually change these myths and misconceptions. And also we need to go out into the community, to health fairs and also churches, etc., and talk to people one-on-one.
And oftentimes when a family member dies, that person who is deceased no longer needs that organ. No longer, and we talk about the wonderful work that the late Stephanie Tubbs Jones did,
exactly.
the Congresswoman. Her organs were donated to several other people who continue to live because Stephanie, God rest her soul, did not need them where she was bound.
She was one of our heroes that when she actually did pass away, we actually we and Life Bank, another organization that we work with very closely, we actually utilized her story to actually get the word out in the community because she was so well known and so well respected.
We can begin with our driver's licenses,
yes,
can't we?
exactly.
You go to your driver's license right there. I don't know, you want to get a shot of mine there. There's a little heart down there, which means that I am an organ donor. Right down at the bottom, there's a little heart down there, right at the bottom. And it means that when I'm gone, take what you need.
Yes.
Take what you need.
Exactly.
And that's what you need. That's what you need to hear,
Most
right,
certainly.
Sean?
Most certainly.
This is vital for you. How are you doing right now?
Right now, I'm doing much better. I am on dialysis and will be until I receive a new kidney. So that is a process in and of itself.
Waiting for a donor. And the kidney transplant business, I don't want to call it a business, but the procedure is a very successful one, from what I've been told, correct,
Yes,
Sean?
yes, it is certainly a life changer.
Okay. You also want to talk about a fundraiser you got coming up,
Yes.
too. Let's squeeze that in our last minute.
The only fundraiser that Cleveland Motep has is our golf outing, which is held at Stonewater Golf Course, and it allows golfers to actually have fun at this outstanding golf course and also to actually support a very great cause. They're going to have a fun-filled day from 10 o'clock when they register until about 6 o'clock when they start eating dinner. We're excited about once again being at Stonewater because it is a great course and everything, and they'll learn more about our mission and the reason why we're doing what we're doing.
That'll be Monday, July 29th at the Stonewater Golf Club in Highland Heights, Ohio.
Exactly.
Highland Heights, Ohio is where it's going to be. Leave us with a thought, won't you? Why this is vital to you? We are talking about your health and the health of thousands of other people, aren't we, Sean?
Yes, certainly. There are many different diseases in the minority community, especially that affect drastically those of us with these conditions, and it's vital to have more people sign up to be registered donors.
Sign up now. Sign up now when you can. Okay.
Exactly.
Many thanks for being on the broadcast. Linda Kimball, Executive Director of Cleveland Motep, and Sean Jenkins, who's a kidney dialysis patient waiting on a kidney.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bless you. God bless you both. God
Thank
bless
you very much.
Taking a break right now. Coming up, the Morning Exchange segment with Marcia Maccabee of the Urban League of Greater Cleveland in just a moment. You're in touch with the Morning Exchange, part of this broadcast Kaleidoscope. And in the Morning Exchange, that means Marcia Maccabee of the Urban League of Greater Cleveland, who always comes with a thought.
Thank you, Leon, and it's great to have the opportunity to be able to share great information during this time. You know, I often hear from our church members who are out there who are either on their way to church or who have been to early morning service and have now come home and get a chance to see the broadcast, how much they enjoy hearing what we have to say and sing us together. So thank you for that. I want to share something particularly for that audience today. The Urban League is going to be holding on July 26 workshops, and these workshops are designated for those who are providing services to families with children from, say, 6 to 12 years old. So these are churches that are doing after-school care. These are community centers that are doing after-school care. And this training is for the workers in those centers. What these workshops are designed to do is to give them more tools in their toolbox to help them to make sure that they can help young people with their homework. And also, we know that today there's so much conflict going on in the lives of young people. We have a workshop that's designed to help them reframe conflict and work out those difficulties in a peaceful way.
So people need to get in touch with you in our final 20 seconds. They need to get in touch with the Urban League to get lined up for these workshops to help them be better.
You must register.
Okay.
Yes.
622-0999.
That's the number.
In the 216 area code, if memory serves me correct.
Yes, and these are MyCom workshops. They should ask for it.
Thank you, Marcia.
Thank you.
And thank you for being with us. Gotta go. Be well, everybody.
Kaleidoscope, a weekly public affairs program brought to you in partnership with the Urban League of Greater Cleveland, Kaleidoscope Magazine, and News Channel 5.